had less than $10,000 and I wanted to get fat stacks, get rich wholesaling real estate, this is exactly what I would do to start getting wholesaling deals and starting to get rich. I'm going to give you my 10 brain dead ways, my 10 brain dead steps on how you can start getting money with less than $10,000. Heck, you could have $0, you could have $100, you could have $1,000 or up to 10 grand. But if I wanted to get started wholesaling real estate, I didn't have an insane budget, but I wanted to make money, I wanted to have success. I'm going to show you exactly what to do with that money, what to do with your time so you can get deals wholesaling houses. My name's Zach Ginn. I've done over 8 figures in assignment fees in the past 8 years wholesaling real estate. I'm one of the largest wholesalers in the entire country, and I am the only wholesaler on YouTube that teaches it absolutely for free. So let's break this all down on what to do with less than $10,000. So the funny part about wholesaling real estate is there are 4 different types of wholesalers that actually have success in this business. And I like to put them in 4 different types of buckets. Bucket number 1, bucket number 2, and yes, I do not know how to draw buckets well. Bucket number 3 and bucket number 4. And the point of these buckets, right, I'm gonna put them as 1, 2, 3, and 4, is you put things in a bucket, right? So buckets are basically empty containers, and we put things into buckets, right? We put water, oil, food, money. I mean, pretty much put anything in a bucket, right? But the way that I look at buckets in wholesaling real estate is we are importing, let's use bucket 2 here, we are importing something into the bucket, and the bucket will magically outflow, right? You put something in the bucket and then give it some time, and then you pour the bucket out and liquid gold comes out, right? It actually turns into money. So you can input, let's say, time, maybe a little bit of money too, maybe your time and money into something. You put it into this magic bucket, this little magic hat, and it outpours money, cash in our bank account. This is what wholesaling real estate is. And there's 4 specific types of ways that we could put time, money, resources into a strategy in wholesaling, and it's going to almost guarantee we output cash, wholesaling real estate deals. Now, of course, there's variables in this, but there's pretty much 4 different types of archetypes for wholesaling, and we can do like 16 different types. We can do subject to wholesalers, we can do on-market wholesalers, novations, code violations, government lists, drawing for dollars. There's so many of these different type of buckets, but to make this really simple, let's do the one that everyone understands. What is the universal language in this world? It is money. So we're not gonna number these buckets, but we're gonna label them. So bucket number 1, I'm calling this my $0 a month bucket. Pretty simple. I have $0 a month I can put into wholesaling. How do I turn it into money? Bucket number 2, I have $200 a month I can pour into wholesaling. Okay, we can do something there. Next here, we got like 500 bucks a month. Now we can get a little easier here, a little less work. Then obviously if we have a full-time job, we kind of just want to kind of skip the line. Obviously you can pour like $1,000 a month into marketing, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but if you have a full-time job, I know a lot of doctors, lawyers, stuff like that, they just want to get into a legitimate business. It's another great way to do it. Now, the way that I personally view these buckets is either by scaling out the amount of money that we have, the lack of money, how do I get the most bang for a buck on that side, versus time scaling, where we have the best bang for our buck on how much time we can put in this business. So this is more about how we can scale our funds. How do I scale the lack of funds that I have? And this bucket's more like, how can I scale my time, the lack of time that I have into wholesaling. Now again, all of these buckets go into time and money. How much money do I put in the bucket and how much time? They all collectively, that is how they work. So in each type of bucket, we have to, depending on the amount of money, right? All of these little buckets are all depending on only this factor. Now each one has a different type of time we have to put in this business, but we all gotta pour in a certain amount of time and money in each one for us to have success. Now, if we want this machine to go out here and spit out cash, there are certain parameters that have to be put in. So if we want this thing to spit out money, if we want this to spit out money, if we want this to spit out money, and then this one to spit out cash, there's obviously things we need to do. Now, the average person will completely assume that this bucket is the magic bucket. If I'm just going to put all my horses in, this is how I make the most money, and you're probably going to be wrong. The majority of wholesalers that actually have success are probably in this type of bucket, Because it's not about how much money you put in this business if you do not have the time, the hustle, or the ambition. So I'm gonna say for the average wholesaler, if you have $0 a month and you wanna get a deal this month, you need to put in probably 40 to 60 hours every single week for you to actually get the success you want. Now, I know that sounds like offensive, like, Zach, dude, I work a full-time job, bro. What do you mean I can't make 30 grand on the side and I have to work 40 hours a week? That's stupid. Bro! $30,000 a month and you have to work 40 hours a week? Where? I could care less. That is life-changing money. And you gotta remember, you told me you have no money. You have $0. Your budget is zilch. Your budget is nunca. Never nothing. Zero. If you tell me you have no money, you cannot afford not to get into wholesaling real estate. What is wrong with you, bro? You need to put every single living second into wholesaling real estate outside your full-time job if you really want to have success, because you don't have money. Like this money thing, no money. You got to put time in this business. If you got no time, you got to put money. And if we're on the opposite part of the spectrum where we have no money at all, like $0, I can't put a penny, I can't put a dollar, I can't drive for dollars, I got no car, you need to be pouring at least 40, 60 hours a week. There is absolutely zero excuse. You are too broke not to do this. And if you are actively sighing and saying, I have to work hard without any money, dude, give me another business where you put $0 into there and you can make 30 grand in a month. I don't have the body to shake my butt on the internet. I can't do that type of side hustle. I gotta do the stuff in real estate to make money. But for most 25-year-old males like me, you're not gonna be shaking your butt on the internet with no money and make a bunch of money, right? It ain't gonna work. And I'm not good at video games, so wholesaling houses is for me. Now, when we kind of get into $200 a month, right, we can use some tools here, right? We can obviously get xleads.com for our free unlimited skip tracing. We got the CRM in there. We can do some drawing for dollars. Got some gas money there. We can definitely start SMS and calling on like a nice scale there. Buy some phone numbers. You're probably looking around 30 to 50 hours a week. Now, I might be like, Zach, what do you mean? Why can't I just do 10? Yeah, you could probably do 20 hours to 30 and get the same results as this guy. But at $200 a month, you are double the efficiency. So you're probably gonna get a 3x better leads, 3x better results by just doing that, because you're adding in leverage, you're adding in tools. Basically, you're doing the same thing this guy's doing, except you have tools, so you'll be able to get 3x more calls, 20,000 more texts than this guy. This is why having some tools does a lot better. Now, when you go to $500 a month, you don't 3x, right? The biggest jump of more leads and marketing is from this bucket to this bucket. At $500 a month, we're more scaling out our things, right? We're just adding more volume. So we're probably doubling, right? And this is gonna be a standard 20 hours a week, probably 20 to 40, I would say. Nothing too crazy, because we're just basically doing X leads at scale, right? We're doing a stupid amount of SMS and calls, right? We really have a triple line dialer. We're going nuts on there. We have a lot of sticky notes we can put out. It's a good strategy. And at 1,000, we're basically scaling out everything we have with VAs and employees. And we're ultimately going to be around, probably say 20 hours a week, because you're going to have all these employees and you're mostly doing the acquisitions yourself. The thing about these type of buckets in wholesaling is it's all about how much time and money you put in. When you got more money, you can put less time, but when you have no money, you got to put more time. Simple as that. So we know exactly where we have to be at in this business for us to start having success. Now, obviously, you do not have to get X leads. You don't need to get any tools. You don't really need to do any of this stuff. Yes, does going at it with $0 going to be the easiest thing in the world? No, it's a lot more difficult. But the cool part is when you have no money, you literally have zero excuses. If you want to say, Zach, I don't want to spend 20, 30, 40 hours a week skip tracing properties. I got a full-time job and kids. Sure, get X leads. Get free unlimited skip tracing. Duh, $49 a month. You want your e-signing. You're in a non-disclosure state, but like, you have no excuse. When you keep growing and growing and growing, you're gonna have way more success. Now, the real question is, okay, Zach, I know which bucket to be in, right? I'm gonna be in this bucket, this bucket, this bucket, or this bucket. What do I do now? Like, what are my steps? How do I start getting deals? Because Zach, I don't wanna think about it. I just wanna get rich. I don't wanna think about getting rich. I just wanna do it. And that's actually how you become successful. You stop overanalyzing and overthink things, you just get it done. Well, I got you covered here. These are my 10 brain dead ways to get your first wholesaling real estate deals step by step so you don't have to think about it. All you have to do is just go out there and do it and get rich wholesaling real estate. Step number 1, we must find a good wholesale market. This is not a shocking thing right here. Either we pick a really good virtual wholesaling market or we pick a really good local market. I prefer for everybody, if you are in a good local market, stick to it. You live in Louisville, Kentucky, you live in Atlanta, you live in Fresno, California, you live in Oklahoma City, right? If you're in a really good virtual wholesale market, stick to it. Now, if you want to know exactly if you have a good local market or a bad local market, populations, median home price is important. What I'd definitely recommend for everybody, and yes, you are going to get annoyed, but just join my free wholesaling community. It's called freewholesaling.com. And in that community, I also have my course. On top of my course, I have a 26-page PDF on how to get started wholesaling real estate. I call it my wholesale Bible. Everyone's been asking me to write a book on wholesaling real estate. I think books are pretty stupid because once you get the book, the publishing, the editing, wholesale has changed. And so I have a PDF that I update pretty much every single month. And in there, I release my top 25 virtual wholesaling markets and all my rules, tips, scripts, and calculators. Now, on top of there, we're going to find our top zip codes. Now, I'm glossing over the market part, right? Like I go a whole hour about the top wholesaling markets, read the PDF, go through the course, join the community. It's completely free, by the way. And I'm just letting you know, if you're around YouTube too much, you're going to find that it seems too good to be true. I've been doing this for 6 years on YouTube. I don't sell any coaching. I don't sell any programs. If somebody does that, they're a scammer. I'm not here to take money out of your bank account. Step 2, we got to find the top zip codes for wholesaling real estate for our market. So if we choose virtual Fresno, California, right, we're going to have to ask local cash buyers, if we're virtually wholesaling, the top zip codes in that market. On top of that too, we can also just do independent market research on cash sales. Now, you actually have to use a software like XLeads. Remember, XLeads like $49 a month, and you can go in there and find cash sales. You can even use any other software you have in wholesaling real estate. I think most people watch this have a wholesale software for comping and things like that. But let me show you, if you have a wholesale software, how you can go in there and hack it so you can find the best cash sales and some independent research on the top zip codes for wholesaling real estate. Now, I also want to make this very, very clear. You don't need XLeads. You don't need another wholesale software to do this. What I would implore you to do is find somebody in my community. We have over 20,000 community members in freewholesaling.com. That's right, 20,000 free community members. Those are 20,000 people that are in my free wholesale community. And I promise you, one of those, we have thousands of those people who are actually joined and have XLeads. I promise you that they will actually pull the data for you and actually show you for free, because that's how amazing our community is. So if you don't even have XLeads, find somebody that does and they'll pull this list for you. Let's share exactly how you can go inside of XLeads and find the top zip codes for cash sales. So we are inside of XLeads here, and we got to figure out how to find the best zip codes in a given area. So what we're going to do here is obviously sign up for XLeads, XLeads.com, but we're going to go to lead pipes and we're going to go to property leads right here. Once we are inside of property leads, we're going to put a regular market. So maybe let's do Fresno, California, right? And we're going to click the city. Now you can do the county or the city, whatever you want. I prefer you do the county if you want to get like a general idea of where in the county. But if you want to get an idea of the city, that's fine too. So what we're going to do is go to see results here. When we look at a certain city, we're going to see there are cash sales and there's regular sales and all these things. The best thing to do is go to this little arrow down, click that, and just press includes cash buyers. Then what's going to do is find all the cash buyers in the given area, let it pop up. And what we're going to do is go into filters here and just do cash sales for single family properties. Let's go through there right here for the past year. So let's go down here, sale date, the past month, let's do 3 months, maybe, right? That's going to pop up 206 properties. Generally, we can kind of see where some of the cash sales are in the city. We can see there's a nice cluster right here. There's a nice cluster up here, but really this area is not that big for cash sales, right? Kind of on the south end and maybe on the west part, these are probably the nicer areas. And right here is a nice cluster. Of course, Fresno State's right here, and then a nice cluster up here. But these are the top areas. I'd probably say from here all the way to there would be the best one. So if I had to draw a map of where to target maybe for a market, I'd probably choose here, Go here, maybe add here, boom, I can draw a very targeted map of where the top cash sales would be. And I'd probably choose an area just like this. Really get hyper specific on where we want to do our cash sales and skip the areas that we don't want to do. You can even pull a list and ask AI to figure out where the top zip codes are based on all the cash sales. ChatGPT is really good, and we teach that in freewholesaling.com. Step number 3, harvest a list of 1,000 motivated sellers. This one's pretty easy actually, right? We used to be able in wholesaling, last year, the year before that, go inside of a government database and try to pull the list and figure out where code violations are. Well, we solved this here, right? In 2025, we actually released our free government list guide for the top 100 markets in the United States. We showed exactly how to find the code violations, probates, fire damage properties, all those things absolutely for free. So many people are selling this data, and we decided to give it completely for free so the people have the power. The people who have no money can now get the power in wholesaling real estate to get rich in this business. And before you go scream at me, yes, it's at freewholesaling.com. Freewholesaling.com, duh. On top of this too, I would drive for dollars. And really this combination of government lists, which are super, super niched out, and drawing for dollars lists, getting 1,000's pretty easy. You could probably do it in 3 to 4 hours now versus 30 or 40 back in the day. I would prefer it's half drawing for dollars, half government lists. I think for a month, it might be a little harder to do that. So maybe 75, 25%. But just in case you have a question on how to get these government lists, let me show you exactly how to do it right now inside of your computer. Now, if we want to figure out my government list cheat sheet, again, all you have to do is be inside here at freewholesaling.com, and it's pretty much pinned right at the top here, freewholesaling.com. All we're going to do is just click that pinned link, and we're going to get a Google Drive sheet. And right here, it's going to pop up how to get the government list and the courthouse leads right there. It's going to pop up the map and just show us exactly where currently, as of this recording, where the government lists are around the country. Pretty cool. So for example, if I want to get the code violations in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I just click this little link, click that. It's going to pop up the code violations, more specifically, the data set of code violations. And you just press the Explore and you can download the data set right there, and you got all your government lists. Number 4, once we get that list, we want to put it inside of a Google Drive or a Google Sheet. And this is just like a free Excel format, so it's pretty simple. And what we want to do is skip trace this data set. Now, there's 2 ways to do it, right? If we are broke, we got no money, no problem. What we're going to do is take that information, plug it into a website like truepeoplesearch.com, and then get their phone number and then put it into the spreadsheet. Or we can use a website like XLeads. I know this sounds like a freewholesaling.com and XLeads commercial, but it's because that's the only software that I'm using, right? I only use XLeads because it has the CRM, skip tracing, data, comps, e-signing, texting, calling, phone numbers. Seriously, just the all-in-one software, like all-in-one. And we just use that for the skip tracing. Now let me show you exactly how you go to some of these free websites to skip trace and how you can use XLeads for your skip tracing. Now, if I have a lead and I want to get their phone number, I want to skip trace them. Again, I gotta be a little careful here with YouTube's policies on everything, but I would definitely choose these 3 websites. Now, if I have no money, again, no budget at all, I'd first go to truepeoplesearch.com. I'd go to address search, put the address of a property, put the state in zip, and what's gonna find is the phone number of the person. The only downside of this is I have to copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Definitely not my favorite thing in the world to do, but honestly, it gets good results. Now, you can even do another website here called cyberbackgroundchecks.com. Absolutely love this one too. You can go by address and boom, it all pops up there. Works really well. And then if you want to use like a paid software, again, XLeads, pretty simple. You go to lead pipes, property leads, this upload.csv file, you click that, you can upload at least 5,000 government lists. You got them all skip traced right there, easy and simple. Now again, that was the best version I can give to you. Unfortunately with YouTube and their policy on private data, we gotta get some things blurred. But if you want the uncensored version of how to do that, just go again, freewholesaling.com. Now number 5, once we get the data, we got it skip traced, we can either call and text these 1,000 sellers. Should take you around 60 hours to make those calls and texts, maybe 70 if we want to be crazy, right? We can use Google Voice, which is a completely free texting platform and a free dialer, or you can use like a paid service from like XLeads or Mojo or something like that. And you can send a bunch of texts out and a bunch of calls out. Now, the free versions obviously are going to be free. So the best part is they cost nothing, but you're going to send less text per hour and less calls per hour. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. Really, with Google Drive, you can copy, paste, so it's pretty simple. But a paid service, you probably get this done in about a quarter of the time. You could probably get it done in about half the time. Now, number 6, this is pretty self-explanatory. What I'm telling you to do is the drawing for dollars list that we do, or if we didn't do much drawing for dollars, we're gonna make it at least 500. We are gonna put 500 sticky notes on the doors on these properties. Now you might be like, Zach lost his rocker. Has he completely lost it? No, I have not completely lost it. Why should you drive for dollars? Why should you listen to Zach? Just trying to, these are just all my wholesale checks this week. And I'm just trying to figure out why you should listen to Zach. I don't know. Maybe the stuff that I do actually works. But the dang reason why my info works is because first, I've gotten massively rich from this stuff, but also you, the community, have gotten massively rich from this. Why we have the largest wholesale community out there? Because the information actually works. Now, what I'm telling you sounds insane, but it's actually the unfair advantage that you get with your motivated sellers that no other wholesaler is doing. And that's putting a sticky note on the door. Having a sticky note that says something like, right, you slap it on the door like this, and it's got your Google Voice number on there, right? It says, hey, this is Zach, I had a quick question about your property. Please give me a call back. And you slap those on 500 doors. You can use AI to do the route for you. You're gonna make a ton of money here. Number 7, and I know this sounds like an insane thing to say, but post 60 digital bandit signs every single month. Now, you might be like, Zach, what? They got another thing, man? What, are you crazy? Yeah, I'm crazy, but I'm also crazy rich, so maybe you should listen to me here. But 60 digital bandit signs a month is going to get you inbound leads, going to get you deals and get you rich. Now, you might be like, wait, Zach, what is a digital bandit sign? Well, a digital bandit sign is basically a bandit sign we can put online. This is us making a post on Craigslist or maybe in a Facebook group on how to get a wholesale deal. And most people on this type of secret strategy will charge you $12,000, $14,000, $15,000 for some crazy course and mentorship associated with it. I actually have my own course. It's called the Digital Bandit Sign Academy, and I give it out completely for free. Guess where? freewholesaling.com. Let me show you exactly how, when you join freewholesaling.com, which is completely for free, how you can go in there and actually get the Digital Bandit Sign Academy. The reason why it's in freewholesaling.com and not a YouTube video is because YouTube doesn't allow me to do private content and share private information, but in the course, it's completely free. Now, if you want to access my free Digital Bandit Sign Academy, absolutely for free, inside of freewholesaling.com, all you have to do is go to Classroom, scroll all the way down here, these are all of our modules, and go right here to Digital Bandit Sign Academy. Right there is everything you know on how to start posting digital bandit signs absolutely for free. Now, from doing all 1 through 7, we're gonna get some insane marketing, right? We're gonna get some insane leads. We're gonna get people who actually want to sell their property. Then from there, we're just gonna lock up a contract. Now, I would definitely follow the rules that we have in freewholesaling.com on how to talk to a seller, how to qualify the seller, how to get my free contract, how to get my free assignment of contract, kind of the rules of the road for acquisitions and closing sellers, my whole sales system, which again is completely free. Please, if someone's trying to sell you some sales acquisitions course, I mean, that's kind of crazy because people have been giving sales content for free for hundreds of years now. But just follow the rules that me and Rick show you. Again, conditioning a seller is a complete must. Making sure it's an off-market deal, all these things. Follow the rules we have at freewholesaling.com in the acquisitions modules. Once we get a deal locked up, we need to sell the deal, right? We got to sell it to a cash buyer. And the best way to sell a deal to a cash buyer is pretty much through 3 simple ways. I like to cold call cash sales. I like to go on Facebook groups and make posts. I like to go on Craigslist. And I like just to use my dispo software, XLeads. So XLeads is a seller, it's a data provider, right? So it's got data, skip tracing leads. It has a dispo platform included. And then what I do is I find all those buyers, I qualify them, ask them the right questions, and then boom, I get the deal sold. Now, my scripts on how to talk to a cash buyer, my scripts of how to go into Facebook for free and finding cash buyers, my tips on finding buyers on Craigslist and how to dispo on XLeads, my questions on to qualify a cash buyer, right? My rules of the road, what you need to make sure to ask a cash buyer to get the deal sold is in freewholesaling.com. Just download that 26-page PDF we have. It's definitely going to show you how to do it absolutely for free right there. Then last but not least, once we get the buyer who's qualified, we're going to walk them through the property. They're going to say, yes, I want to buy it. Let's say you locked up for 100. You offer to sell them the deal to 140 grand. You get a $40,000 finder's fee. You write the assignment of contract for a $40,000 finder's fee, and we get our check, just like any of these bad boys right here. Throw it in the bank account, post a check in for wholesaling.com like you all like to do, and get rich wholesaling real estate. Guys, I believe you can do this. I believe that you are destined for something greater. But what I really need you to do is for you to believe that you can actually do it. Because I was dumb enough to believe in myself. I got rich wholesaling real estate. And so many of you have believed in yourselves. You got rich, you got successful by wholesaling houses by just following this advice. Now, I'm already a rich wholesaler. So how do you know my stuff really works? Let's say you believe that, yeah, maybe his stuff works, but how do I know that his students actually get this success? Well, I have the most testimonials than anybody else in the wholesale game. And as you know, I bring receipts. If you go on my Instagram, Flip with Zach, I have a receipts counter right here. All you have to do is click my receipts, and you're gonna find all of the checks that people post. And I don't post a ton of them, but like these are just general people that like, hey, I got my first deal. Thanks, Zach, I appreciate it. And you can just go out here and DM these people that send me the checks. And you're gonna see that, oh wow, Zach has changed a lot of people's lives. How much more do I have to keep scrolling for you to start believing in yourself, right? Like, how much more scrolling do you have to do? Like, guys, these are just from the past year. And unfortunately, I have to delete some of the highlights to get more in there because there's a limit how many people you can have on your highlights. But I bring the receipts. I have become a multi-millionaire many times over in this business, all from the power of wholesaling real estate, and you guys have become multi-millionaires by the power of wholesaling real estate. If you believe in yourself, do me a favor, comment that, I got this, I can do it, I can get rich, I'm gonna be successful. We have no excuses. We don't do I'm going to try mentality. We're going to do I'm going to get rich mentality. And that's how we get rich. That's how we get successful wholesaling real estate. Guys, cannot wait to see you at the top. If you got any value from this video, please do me a favor. Join the free community for wholesaling.com. Smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach signing out. Have a blessed one.